So lately, in battle analysis, we've been focusing a lot on the Battle of Onderon, and as that civil war draws to a close with a victory for the Republic-backed rebels, it's time to take a look at the war as a whole and discuss whether this was actually a success for the Republic. I'm Colin, and this is Sci-Fi Deep Dive. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, to head down below and hit that subscribe button. So the Underanian Civil War consisted of a showdown between the Republic-backed rebels on the planet of Onderon and the Onderanian royal government under the sort of control of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, and it escalated to the point that there were separatist troops on Onderon carrying out an occupation with the invitation of the local government under a pro-separatist regime. And this civil war ultimately would end with the rebels liberating their own world, and the planet eventually joining the Republic just in time for the fall of the Republic. But it's time to take a look at the whole thing from above, and particularly from the Republic's standpoint. When the rebels made their initial call out to attempt to solicit the assistance of the Republic in their ongoing war against the Separatists, there was actually debate among Republic leadership as to whether or not they should send anything to help the Onderanian rebels. From the Republic's perspective, the Onderanian Civil War was an internal matter, and Republic troops were better used on the battlefields across the galaxy, where they had been fighting an ongoing war against the CIS for over a year now. So there was a debate among the members of the Jedi Council and other members of Republic leadership as to whether or not anything should be done to assist the rebels on Onderon, and an experiment was ultimately put forward. The idea was that the Republic could send advisors and maybe some military technology and attempt to help out the rebels, with the goal of being able to back a rebel force to hopefully force the Separatists off the world of Onderon, but do so in a way that would allow the Republic to remain plausibly deniable if they were ever accused of being involved in this civil war. Something that's actually fairly common in our world. And ultimately, the Republic involvement did succeed in helping the Onderanian rebels overthrow the Separatist-backed regime, but the process raised a lot of questions. Most notably, was all this worth it for the Republic? And did they achieve their goals in staying quiet in the matter? Well, let's just start out with that second part, and the answer is no. The Republic, by the end of the ongoing civil war on Onderon, was supplying weapons that could have only come from the Republic. The weapons manned and operated by the rebels on that planet were very high-tech, very Republic-specific weapon systems that could have only come from Republic sources. So it was pretty obvious to Separatist leadership that the Republic was backing the Onderanian rebels by the end of the Civil War. So in that goal, the Republic ultimately failed. But overall, was the operation a success? Well, they did manage to successfully liberate Onderon from Separatist control and place the planet back within the Republic before the end of the conflict. It did come at a significant cost. The rebels had taken quite a hit. The Republic had lost some face with the local government, as they had failed to openly support the Onderanian rebel cause. On top of that, the Republic had to spend a significant amount of credits and influence to get weapon shipments to Onderon under the table, weapon shipments that ultimately still didn't arrive secretly, and the Separatists would walk away knowing that the Republic had helped the Onderanian rebels. However, the Republic did gain a few things from this operation. As I mentioned, they gained control of Onderon, but they also gained specific knowledge about several Separatist weapon systems that were deployed for the first time during the Onderanian Civil War, most notably the HMP gunship. Knowledge on these weapon systems would prove crucial during the later days of the war, as Republic forces faced off against weapon systems that saw their first use in smaller conflicts like this. On top of that, they gained the experience in fighting asymmetric war, something that the Republic would still use occasionally throughout the rest of the conflict. But that raises the next big question. Was this enough of a success for the Republic to repeat it? After all, the idea of this experiment was to test the concept of helping out local resistance movements to overthrow separatist occupations. Was this successful enough for the Republic to repeat this strategy on other worlds? Well, it appears like it wasn't. As far as I'm aware, there are no other instances later in the conflict of the Republic putting this much support in a local resistance movement to overthrow the Separatists. It's also worth noting that perhaps this decision was made by Chancellor Palpatine to avoid strong resistance movements to oppose his coming galactic empire, which he knew would have to deal with the aftermath of a lot of these civil wars. In fact, we can see that happen on Onderon, as the Onderanian rebels and their leadership would ultimately transition into Saw Gerrera's partisans, which would be a major thorn in the Empire's backside during the early days of the reign of the Empire. So was the campaign on Onderon actually a success? Well, ultimately I'd say it was a mixed bag. On one hand, they did manage to bring Onderon into the Republic and get key intelligence on the new separatist weapon systems deployed in that civil war. But on the opposite side, they had seriously damaged the public opinion of the Republic on Onderon due to their sort of inconsistent support, and that inconsistent support ended up costing the Republic a lot of credits, which was something the Republic couldn't afford when they're fighting their own much larger conflict against the CIS as a whole. But this Civil War did prove to be an interesting sort of chapter within the whole Clone Wars, and if you'd like to learn about how the Onderanian Civil War started and how the sort of situation on Onderon really developed, I'll leave a link up here to my video on what caused the Onderanian Civil War and how the war progressed up until the Republic's involvement began. And I want you to let me know whether you think the Republic should consider the operation on Onderon a success. After all, they did get control of Onderon, but there was high costs to this operation that ultimately did hit the Republic in a place where it really hurt, their pocketbook. And if you have anything else you'd like to see me cover in Star Wars, you can let me know down below in the comments. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this video, head down below, hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell icon so you get notified when I upload new videos. So for Sci-Fi Deep Dive, I'm Colin, and I will see you next time.